What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Rad Rides podcast. I am your host, as always, Jason Zollers, and today I have an awesome guest. You know these JDM cars. Everybody has wanted one of these JDM cars, and finally, I got a Skyline on the podcast. This is a 1990 Skyline built by Nick Rearick. He took this thing down to bare bones. It was an old drift car that was just ratted out completely, and he did like an old school restoration on it where you take it all apart, you clean everything, you paint everything, you put it all back together the way it was, and it runs even better. He drives this thing all over the place. He really enjoys showing it off. He really enjoys all the hard work he put into it. He built it to be very reliable, so again, he does drive it a whole lot of places, but I think you're really going to like the podcast. Big shout out to Angelo at Steel City Cars and that for helping us out and getting us all in the booth right there. He has a show here coming up in March. It's going to be the first one of the year, so you better be there. I'm going to try to be there if the weather's bad, because we do live in PA in March. I'm probably not going to drive a nice car there, but I will be there. But anyways, get online, go check it out, www.radridespodcast.com for everything that you could possibly want to know about Nick's Skyline. And without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Mr. Nick Rearick.
That's why I like car shit, because meeting people, dude, is all cool.
Yeah. I know Roberto and Angelo and a couple of the other guys.
Yeah, I met Nathan, I met Rob, and I met Angelo. Those were the first three that I talked to when I was training the car.
Yeah. Cody last year was actually on the podcast. That's how I met him at World of Wheels, and he had Cobalt SS, and he had that next to it.
He was talking about that I think it was on Wednesday. Somebody said that he also had the SS. I didn't know he had the Corvette also.
That Cobalt SS is cool.
Well, I didn't know they were the same people. I've seen that and the Cobalt. I didn't know
same
that
guy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, same guy. So, but yeah, man. Well, welcome to the podcast. We're recording, so I'd like to roll into it. So,
no, we're good.
We're at World of Wheels. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Nick Rearick. I showed up here with my R32 Skyline.
And it's grabbed all the attention.
It's doing pretty well. Actually, I'm kind of happy, dude.
Yeah,
I like all the pictures it's getting.
Dude, it looks awesome, man. Like, obviously, any Skyline comes out of here, you know what I mean? So, hold on. We're taking pictures of the car.
Do you mind if these two sit in this car?
Yeah, you can sit in it.
You want to drive or you want to stick driving? Stick drive?
All right, we had to cut here. We had a kid who wanted to sit in the Skyline, and of course, Nick being the guy he is, he was like, go ahead and jump in. Thanks, Angelo. Right in the middle of my podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Not bad.
It's all good, dude.
There we go. All right.
It's the star of the show.
We're just making dreams come true.
I'll cut it together. I don't cut many things together, but I'll cut this one together.
Making dreams come true.
Making
one car
dreams
at a
come
time.
true. Yeah, exactly. So someone just wanted to come over here and sit in the car, and you're like, yeah, go ahead and sit in the car. You know what I mean? You're not a Skyline owner who was like, this is unobtainium. Don't look at my car. It's too clean. It's too cool.
Oh, absolutely.
You drive this a lot.
Yeah, dude, it's built to drive. I respect everybody's builds for sure, but I don't build them as paperweights. I like to use it. I built it reliably, and it's for, like I said, it's just for the attention. People like it, and even the kids that come up to it, that's like building future dreams, you know what I mean?
100%.
If you're gonna be like uptight about your car, I don't really think anybody's gonna get into it.
That's right.
But like just letting people sit in it, they're super into it, so why not?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and so I saw this car, I don't know, probably at the Steel City Cars and that.
The blowout at the end of the summer.
At the end of the year, and I was one of the judges, and picked this car to win it right here, and you ended up winning it. So.
Yeah.
And it's super clean from front to back. So how did you get the car? Why did you want the car? Have you always been in the Skylines?
So from a very young age, obviously, I was born like right at the beginning of the Fast and the Furious era. So obviously my dream car was always a Skyline. Actually, when I was in third grade, I was in Boy Scouts, and during the Klondike Derby races, I actually recreated the R34, and that was my race car. So like, I actually still have it. Some of the shows I go to, I'll put it on the dash just to like kind of recreate memories. But yeah, it was always a dream car of mine. And so once COVID kicked in, and I was just searching for like new cars, new projects and stuff, and this popped up in Pittsburgh. also from a guy named Nick.
Okay, so you didn't import it. So
I was not the one that imported it. I bought it off the guy that got it imported.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Awesome.
So he bought it from a company that imported it, and then I got it off him. So yeah, it was. I mean, he did a good job like maintaining it and everything, but like for lack of better words, it was honestly like a pile of crap when I got it. Just that old JDM car, drifted, wrecked.
Oh,
you know what I
really?
mean? Oh,
okay.
it was bad.
All
It was
right.
real bad. So
It's had a hard life, is what you're telling
bad
me.
life. Yeah,
Nice.
bad life. So naturally, I'm an auto body tech, so I like to make
wow.
things pretty. I immediately started grinding all the paint off, and I found mud work and just like it was atrocious. So I spent that winter doing all the mud work, all the body work, all the paint, everything from front to back. So that took an entire winter just to get the body done. And like I told you before, I like to be a little bit different. I like to stand out. So nobody can buy this front bumper because I made this specifically out of a mold that I made and put it just on this car. So you can't, it's not even a body kit you can buy.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
I like to stand out, but I also like to make some things unreachable just so that I can stand out in a crowd.
It says it fools everybody. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks it's an R34.
Yeah.
But it's a 32.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, like, what had been wrecked on this thing? Like rear end? I mean,
No, fender. I mean, the bumper was atrocious. Like, there was nothing left of the bumper. But yeah, fender door, both quarters were absolutely terrible. The rear body panel, the hood was atrocious. And I think that front left door was also, it had previous mud work in it. But yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Safe to say, maybe one of the cheaper R32s that came in.
It was terrible. All the carpet was ripped to shreds. It was all cut. It was all pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I started with the interior. I did all brand new carpet, planted racing brackets for the seats, bride seats. I have the IC7 in there now as a dash cluster, but I got Cypher harnesses, but everything on the interior was completely gutted and brand new stuff put on the inside.
nice,
It was
man.
that bad.
So it's basically like an old car restoration.
Yes,
I mean, you have to restore it like a classic car.
Front to back, top to bottom, inside and out.
And it's weird to think that this is a classic car because this is a what?
90.
90. Okay.
90. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say 89.
So
but 90.
we're at like 34 years now.
Dude, isn't that weird to think about?
Yeah, because in 1995 when I was born, I was just into that Fast and Furious area, and they make those cars look so easy. It's like in a 10-minute segment, you can restore a car, but it is not like that in the real world.
No.
Years and years on end, man. It's a work in progress.
Yeah,
but
and it's funny because and these are, I mean, they're modern cars, right? I mean, we talked a little bit beforehand, and you said that you drive the hell out of this thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Salt is really the only thing that really scares you.
Yeah.
You're a body guy, so that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it's not that I wouldn't once or twice, but it's already never seen the winter, so why ruin it?
Right,
You know.
yeah.
But yeah, we take it like cross country. Really, we go to Gatlinburg, Myrtle Beach, West Virginia, Maryland. We do all those trips every year, but then we'll throw in some spontaneous ones out of state.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a driver. No paperweights around here.
Yeah, I like that. And it's got the RB underneath the hood.
Yeah, so it's still the original RB20, which everybody kind of like looks down on because it's only a 2.0, but it wasn't really meant for a race car. It was just meant to be fast but reliable.
Yes.
So
100%.
yeah,
100%.
We pretty much I tore the block all the way down to the pistons. We took all the pistons out. We measured all the crank bearings, rod bearings. We checked the crank tolerance. We made sure that the motor was in very good condition before I did any of this.
Nice.
Because there's no sense of making it pretty if it ain't gonna run. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So-
And dude, the motor was out, everything was out, and you can tell from the paintwork underneath here that you guys spent a lot of time underneath here as well as on the outside, because a lot of guys will be like, we'll just go with some flat black underneath and like it'll be good enough. But I mean, underneath the hood looks as beautiful as the outside of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was every single component was out. Honestly, most of the components that are left on here, they're still 34 years old. Like the power steering pump, AC unit, all my brake boosters, everything. It's all original. I just had to clean a lot of it up. So not only just the restoration of the car, but the restoration of some of those old parts that you can't get your hands on. Dude. It was a pain. It was honestly a pain.
You know, it's crazy. I mean, guys like myself who have restored, muscle cars and classic cars and old trucks, we know that, right? Everything you take off the car, you're very careful to take it off because you don't know if you're going to find one ever again. I mean, think like easy things like air intakes and things like that. They're a dime a dozen, right?
Yep.
But little clips and little screws, if you don't bag and tag that stuff and you're missing it, it could be $5 for a screw, and then you might have to wait 5 or 6 weeks for it to come over from.
You hit the nail on the head. It's the little stuff. I mean, honestly, it really is the little shit. So like some of the like the brake booster, you could get those from Japan and stuff. I actually found that on Amazon from a different, it was like a Nissan Xterra.
Oh, wow,
So
okay.
a lot of the parts are, after a lot of research with just a couple little modifications that aren't big,
Sure.
Stud size, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you can actually get a lot of swapped in parts if you know how to fabricate little tiny things. You can get parts for this. It's just you got to fabricate it a little
you
bit.
gotta
But
make
like you said, it ain't even the big stuff. It's like the clips,
Yes.
the screws, even these fine bolt patterns. Like if you lose that stuff, you're gonna be out of luck
Yeah,
until
you're
you
hosed,
find
man.
one.
You're host.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
what made you pick the gold accent to the silver, which I love? I mean,
Okay,
it's
so
great.
so starting with the silver, I call this douchebag silver. So what I did, because I don't, like I said, I like to stand out, be unique. I don't like to copy things. So I started out with a GM color from Chevy, and I modified it with 3 parts black and a couple drops of ultrafine metallic.
Okay.
So it gives it like more of a chrome look. So you can't actually get this paint because, like I said, I named it as
one-off,
douchebag
yeah.
silver.
Yeah.
So that's how I came up with the silver. The gold, I'm honestly not a huge fan of gold. It has grown on me, but the only reason I did the gold, because once again, I like to stand out. Through being in the car scene for a couple years at that time, I've never seen gold. Everybody does green, everybody does blue, red, black, you know what I mean? It's very typical. So I special ordered this powder coat from my Powder Goat guys, and I got like a retro gold with the heavy flake in it to give it more of like a disco look when the sun hits it and
looks
stuff.
really good.
Well, and that's why I said I'm not a huge fan of gold. I was never like, man, I can't wait to have a gold car. It was more or less about just being different. And like even looking at the cars here today, like you can see red, green, blue, stuff like that. You don't see a whole lot of gold.
Yeah.
So it's just one other thing to like make it stand out.
Yeah, and really that like disco sparkly kind of deal has made its way real hard into the tuner scene. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which looks great. I mean, I always loved it, right? You know what I mean? So,
It has grown on me, so now I'm a fan of
Yeah,
gold.
you're ready? Yeah,
but
you like
I'm
it?
telling you, during the process, I was like, yeah, it looks cool. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not like huge on it. It looks cool though.
Yeah.
Once it was all together with the silver flake, the gold flake, then the black accents, it really tied it together.
And I guess I never realized, I mean, I'm looking under the hood right now. I never really like sat down and really had a good hard look at a Skyline. That's a long motor. That's a big motor. That's a big motor than like
Inline 6.
yeah, it's inline 6 and like it's really big.
Yes.
Like now that I'm looking at it.
It honestly is a very large motor, and especially it being out on the engine stand, you could realize for a foreign car that it really is large, because most foreign cars like Hondas and everything are 4 cylinders, a little bit tinier, but with the extended length of the other 2 cylinders, not only is it actually more of a reliable motor, that's why people build them, but you get that displacement, which just makes it larger in size. So,
but even like Supras, looking at Supras, I don't feel like that motor's that big.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm not too sure. Like, so you're
I'm
talking about
looking
like the
at
JZs.
Supras. Yeah, the
So
JZs.
I haven't had a whole lot of experience with the JZs.
Yeah.
I've looked at them, but as far as comparison, I'm not really too sure how they compare to size.
Yeah.
I know that everybody loves these Japanese motors for a reason, and that's kind of what I'm sticking with on that.
And maybe it's the gold that's just accented. It looks like, you know, just like a piece of jewelry underneath here. That maybe it's just popping it out and making it look bigger versus, you know, like the flat black covers that were on it and everything like that. And then maybe one of my favorite parts of this car is the actual engine code that you have on top of here that was custom made.
Oh, yeah.
And tell everybody kind of the story behind that.
You mean the plaque on top?
Yes.
Okay, so naturally, I'm a Fast and Furious lover as well.
Everybody is.
And yeah, I mean, why not? Yeah, look at the cars. So obviously one of the most famous lines from Fast and the Furious is tuna no crust, and in the second movie he makes fun of the Gala 24.
Right,
Because pizza places don't make motors, you know what I mean?
That's right, yeah.
So the plaque originally said 24 valve overhead cams. And obviously, if you look at any of the RBs, that's still on there because that's what they came with.
Right.
So again, to stick out and be a little bit different, I took some of my aspects from Fast and Furious that I loved, and I put Gala 24 tuna no crust.
It's so great.
So I got that was just a fresh piece of stainless steel. I cut the plaque out, I bent it, I got it all polished up, and then I actually gave it to my sister that has like an engineering shop, and she laser engraved it for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was hoping that the laser engraving was going to come out a little bit deeper so people could notice it, but stainless steel is the hardest metal they make.
I think it's cool because I think it's one of those things that
it's not in your face.
You look at it and you're like, oh,
it.
yeah. Like, damn.
But
almost like got me.
But once you see it, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was going to be a little bit deeper, but like I knew, and she said too, that stainless steel is one of the hardest metals. It's very solid. So if I would have went with aluminum, I probably could have shined it up too. But like the stainless steel has such a shine to it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's good.
But again,
enough.
it's like a pun or like a joke that you're not
like
seeing.
an Easter egg.
And,
It's like an Easter egg. You gotta really look at it
good.
to figure it out.
Yeah, that's really good.
I also like that too.
So how were like the strut towers and everything? Was everything like the body? You know, obviously you said the
Yeah,
outside
I mean,
body was pretty beat up. But how were the strut towers? How was everything?
I mean, honestly, as far as the metal quality went, everything was like pretty intact. Like it was very solid. It had wear and tear on it, some rub, you know, like some a little bit of surface rust just from where paint was missing and everything.
Okay.
So everything was pretty solid. The only thing that was different, see this gold plate down here?
Yes.
So I had to make this gold plate out of aluminum because I actually had to cut that portion of the apron out because from the battery leaking over years and years and years, it ate away all of the metal. So I relocated the battery and I cut this chunk out. I fabricated a little piece of aluminum, got it powder coated, and I actually riveted it on there.
Nice.
So in case I ever have to remove that for any kind of intake work, I can just drill out the rivets and just take it right out.
Yeah, so for those who are listening, I mean, I'll post the pictures online, but it's behind the passenger side headlight, and it's where the battery would have sat. And like you said, it ate away that inside apron right there. So instead of rebuilding it like normal, you were going to replace the battery anyways. So you're just like, screw
yeah, it was absolutely. I'm talking like just absolutely deteriorated. Like a lot of this was solid right there where the battery was leaking. It was just it was deteriorated.
Yeah,
there was nothing left.
And does this thing boost it up a little? I mean, do you have what kind of? Is this the original turbo? Is this?
Oh no, this is.
Sorry, I was changing my mic there. I had to move it up a little bit.
No, you're good. So yeah, no, this is a Kinugawa turbo. I had it ordered for me from the recommendation of somebody else.
Okay.
So I wanted to go with the top mount look. So I had to get a exhaust manifold. I had to fabricate it a little bit because you can see how close it is to the strut tower.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I had to change the angle of the turbo itself, so I had to modify the manifold so that it didn't hit the strut tower when it boosts.
Yeah.
Because the engine rock.
It'll move. Yeah.
It'll rock. I didn't want it to hit the strut tower, so there was a little bit of fabrication that went along with that. So that was brand new. And then, like I said, with the intake, usually comes across on the RBs. I did a front-facing one, so where the battery was anyway, I was going to need a new plate. So it was like a two birds and one stone.
Yeah, it worked out kind of deal. It worked out kind of deal. So let's go into the let's look at the interior here. Go around to that. So like, all right. So you said you replaced pretty much everything in here at this point. You know what I mean? So so the big question is, what's it like to drive a right-hand drive car in America?
All right, so I mean, everybody asks that question naturally because they're asking how long it took to like get used to it.
Yes.
If you have any kind of concept of driving a standard or you're just good at driving in general, it's really not that hard. Mm-hmm. The hardest part is realizing where you're at on the road, but like I said, that comes very quickly. So instead of seeing yourself super close to traffic, now you have to be used to seeing mailboxes extremely close.
Like right next to you.
Right next to you. So that is a little bit funky. Everything on the shift pattern, all the pedals and everything on the steering wheel is all the same. So first gear is still top left, reverse is still bottom right. Like
what's it like shifting with your left hand versus
that,
your right hand?
Again, that took just a little bit to get used to. But like if you have any kind of concept of like driving a standard and you're like very good at it, you almost just it's more of like a mind thing. It's not that your arm can't do it, but it's going from what you were used to something new.
Sure.
So it is a little bit different. But yeah, I honestly, if you want my opinion, I've sat in the passenger side while people have driven this car, and it is worse over there. Your experience is worse over there because you feel so open, like there should be a steering wheel there, and you are so close to traffic. You are really trusting the person that is driving because they're not even near the danger. You are.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So it's honestly, it's kind of it's more mental than it is not being able to physically do it. You just have to realize where you're at on the road. But other than that, it's honestly cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely cool.
All right, so the other big question is always, what do you do for a drive-through? Do you go in reverse?
So I used to, so this is the real situation. I used to avoid drive-throughs, even if I was starving. If I was the only one in, I would avoid drive-throughs because I was like, listen, I can't have this conversation right now.
Yeah.
I also can't reach across. I'm like, let's just avoid it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So last summer, when I was doing a photo shoot with T. Miller, we were actually just naturally getting hungry after a couple hours of shooting, and we had gone to a McDonald's, and I was like, you know what, you got your camera, we're already here. I was like, I might as well just go in reverse. So yeah, I did. I went through the drive-thru for the first time in reverse, it is really not that hard. The hardest part is dealing with all the comments and all the people staring at you.
Oh, I guarantee.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just like rolling
and
up.
for car guys who know JDM cars, it's like, oh, it's right-hand drive.
Right.
But for
A lot
everybody
of
else who's
people
not in the
don't-
cars, like,
yeah.
how did you get that? Why
Yeah.
did you do that?
They don't.
Like,
They just don't get it. Like first, I
Dumb
get the
Americans.
questions like, "Why are you going backwards?"
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, they seem upset about like I'm doing something illegal. And
Yeah.
I'm like, because I'm on the wrong side of the road. And then they go, "Oh," and then then it hits. So yeah, honestly, the tellers, like the people at the window, they were my favorite because rolling up backwards and looking them in the
Yeah.
eye, they were
Right.
just like.
Yeah, something different. Yeah, they
They're
thought you
like,
were just going to be some guy.
Did you get the 2 cheeseburgers? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, that'll be $8.49. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. And then pulling away, watching their eyes out the window, just
Yeah.
watching me. It is funny. It's
That's
comical.
good. That's awesome.
But yeah, I did get to experience the reverse drive-through. I did.
Yeah, yeah. And so do you have a girlfriend or wife or anything like that?
No, I don't.
Have you ever taken a lady out in this?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Is it weird to open the door for them or tell them to get in on the other side?
Honestly, it's not. It is. It's a little bit of a conversation starter,
That's
actually.
good.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
It's a quick icebreaker.
I love it.
There's no awkward silence because it's naturally just like, hey, I want to get in the driver's seat, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh shit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. Then
So
you get to ride in something that's different.
yeah,
You're-
strapping them in is cool too. They
Yeah.
don't like they learn how like a racing harness works and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
So
My wife
yeah,
is
it's
like
good. It's
that,
honestly it's more of like an icebreaker
That's
rather
awesome,
than
man.
anything.
That's awesome. And the
So-
sunroof is functional and everything?
Fully functional, not leaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it took a little bit of work for that.
Were they all sunroof cars?
No,
Or was it?
no,
that's an
there's
option?
not. Yeah, there's certain models and years that do and do not come with the sunroof, and a lot of people don't like it because they do leak. But it turns out, for anybody out there that needs to know this, Nissan, just regular Nissan, still makes the seals for those sunroofs.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's
So-
nice. That's very nice. And no cracks on the dash,
No
which
cracks.
that's always a big, that's always a big deal. with
Dry
these-
rotting is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, all the S cars, and I know these cars, these Skylines as well, they're notorious for having a crack on the
Yes,
dash. You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Also very notorious for those vents not working. Again, you can get those right off Amazon, brand new, made by Nissan.
Oh, really?
Not
Wow.
even aftermarket. They're actually made. That's what I'm saying. Like the parts for this car are readily available
Yeah.
if you need the right part.
So it shouldn't scare anybody to go buy one of these, and if
Unless
something is broken.
Yeah,
and-
it's like you can get the oddball stuff you think that wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But the stuff you think would be readily available, it takes months to get.
Yeah.
It's a very bizarre project.
So have you ever tried to? So I've done this in the past. I will have to say, just to get a reaction out. Have you tried to take this to Nissan and be like, hey man, I need like an oil change on this, and they're like, I don't know what the hell this thing is, dude.
I mean, honestly, I have not, but like
Okay,
you're
yeah.
kind of giving me ideas.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not that I'm
yeah.
against that at all, so I would definitely try that.
Yeah, I've done that with a few old cars. Which
I
is
mean,
fun.
I-
And it's fun for those guys. I mean, they get to work on a car.
Right. No, I've never
So-
done that. Actually, you're giving me
Yeah.
kind of some ideas though.
Or just pull up in it and like, I need this part for that
Yeah.
car, and they're like, I have
Yo.
no freaking clue
Yo,
what that car
I would
is.
try
And,
that. So
you know,
I actually work at a Honda dealership in Monroeville, and
Okay.
so a couple times that I've needed to get it inspected, I've gone up to the main dealership and got them to lift it in the air so they can inspect it, and like just seeing them just like, well, what do you want me to, how do you want to lift it? I've
Yeah.
actually had to lift it for them.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, because like they're obviously chill guys, but they're
Yeah.
also very respectful. They're
Oh, yeah,
like,
100%.
I ain't
Well, they know
trying to
what the
destroy.
car
Yeah,
is.
they're like, I'm not trying to destroy this. But even them looking at it, they're like, why would they put that there? Why would they do? And I'm like, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
it's
Just
what
like
it is.
Honda, Nissan's got its own flaws. It's got its own problems. But yeah, I do like the reaction. I like the social encounter. You meet
Yeah.
a lot of cool people. You have a
I
lot of cool
guarantee, yeah.
conversations.
I mean, Phil, look, there's not a lot of these on the road.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're getting to be so expensive now that you're not
Yes.
gonna. I mean, you're not gonna be able to get one just a regular everyday guy.
Right,
You know what I mean?
correct.
Just go grab one down at the corner. You know what I mean?
And I mean,
So-
even just like simple stuff like getting gas. You're never just getting gas. You're always
Right.
it's pictures. It's like let's just have a conversation.
Truck's the
Yeah,
same way,
exactly.
dude.
It's
Yeah.
cool. Like, and that's
Yeah.
what I mean. I would really recommend anybody listening to this that if you are not a social person, you should not get any kind of vehicle like this
Oh,
because
yeah,
people are
yeah,
just
yeah.
naturally going to want to talk.
Yeah, don't get a classic
Yeah.
car. Don't get anything.
Don't ever be in a
crazy.
hurry.
Yes.
Don't
Oh,
ever
yeah,
be on a
get in hurry.
timeline because people will stop you. I've gotten stopped on a bypass before because the guy was hanging out the window trying to take a picture.
Yeah, well,
it's
I've
like
done that
it's
too.
like it's just. I mean,
Yeah, that's
you-
the problem. Is you got to kind of be defensive in these cars because
little
everybody
bit,
wants
yeah,
to take a picture.
a little
and they
bit.
pull their phone out and then they swerve into you. And you're
Right,
like, hey,
exactly.
like-
I've had to slam on brakes for that multiple times, but like I said, even just stopping, you have to be
Yeah.
a very social person to have something like this because you'll never survive.
Yeah, 100%.
You'll never survive.
And then wheel and tire package. Did you come up with this, or was this already on?
No,
here,
I actually bought those with
Okay.
the car. They are the MB Battles that are original. Everybody's a big fan of those. I have thought about changing them, but they're a classic at this point.
Classic, man. Classic.
So yeah, I actually got those with the car, and I feel like they fit well, so I just left them.
Yeah. And then the wing come with the car? Or did you after
the wing came with the car. It did leak. It was in really bad shape, but because it was the GTR wing, I had to. I mean, obviously, I had to fix it and put it back. Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Yeah. It's like you just go down to the store and get.
And again, it's not such a huge modification that it's like bizarre, it's in your face. It's just like it's a small accent that just like really sets off the look of the car.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so I mean, you took everything apart. How about underneath this thing? Is it underneath as clean as?
It's not as clean as like the outside of the car. Right. It is clean. It's got like your normal PA rub, scratch, little dings and dents underneath, just from the low riders, the the potholes, stuff like that. So, but other than that, like a little bit of surface rust here and there, which probably could be taken care of pretty easily. But it is fairly clean underneath.
And then you got the lights to go with it, which are great. You got to have neons.
Underglow, absolutely.
Dude, if you have one of these cars, you got to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't be in the Fast and Furious era without a couple of lights.
No. So when you take this thing out, are people just constantly, like, what's the weirdest question you've got from this thing, you think?
The weirdest question I've gotten?
So like me, like I remember I had my Chevelle in Houston, and I went to this really nice area. They parked it out front. They valeted and parked it out front, right? And I had some larger ladies when I came walking out who were all leaned up against it, taking pictures of it and everything. And one was like, "Can I take a ride?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man."
I don't know. I really feel like, I don't know. The weirdest question, I get a lot of the questions like, "What's it like?" What's it like? I mean, a couple people have asked me, "Did you do that on purpose? Like, did you put it on that side?" I mean, they're not really weird questions. A lot of people don't even take time to come up with a weird question because they're just mind blown that the steering wheel's on the wrong side. Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? The weirdest question I've gotten. Okay. Somebody asked me if I was going to start delivering mail.
Yes.
That is actually the weirdest. Yes. I was like, come on.
There it is.
And actually,
that makes sense though. I mean,
my response is, and this is actually a true story, my response is the guy that I bought this off of was a mailman.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he didn't even have any advice for me on how to start driving it, because he's like, "Dude, I do this for a living." And I'm like, damn it. I almost had to change career paths. I almost became a mailman. So yeah, weirdest question I've gotten is if I'm going to start delivering mail out of this. And I'm like, man, that shit's going to cost more. Yeah. It's going to cost more.
And then how long did it take you to build everything? From start to, hey, I'm going to take it out to a show and feel really comfortable with like showing it.
All right, so I bought the car in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Okay.
And I did the interior right off the bat because it was already bad, and it was just sitting in the garage because it was still winter.
Right.
So that summer I drove it around a little bit, but there was nothing done to the car. So I drove it around, showed it off. I had buddies drive it, stuff like that, because there was nothing done to the car. I wasn't worried about it.
Sure.
The beginning of the winter of 2020 into 2021 is when I did all of the body work. So that took about 6-7 months, front to back, doing all that. And then I did a bunch of car shows in 2021. I started the motor in the engine bay in the winter of 2021 and 2022.
Okay.
All of my parts, the bigger stuff coming from Australia and Japan, actually took so long to come in, I missed that entire summer.
Yeah.
So I finished it, what would that be, the winter of 2023. So all summer in 2023, I actually took it all the car shows, did all my driving around again.
That's right, yeah.
So I want to say overall, probably 3 to 4 years, but it was all during the winter, so I wasn't missing out on anything, but I was pretty bummed that I missed that one summer.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it though.
Yeah, what do you
It's not even like the paint's not done. I'm talking like my motor just won't run. I'm missing all my shit. You know?
Exactly.
So there's a big difference in that, but yeah, it was kind of a bummer, but like now that it's done, I'm like super happy about it.
So what's next for the car? What do you got planned next for it?
I mean, honestly, the only thing I haven't touched on it so far is wheels and suspension.
Okay.
I mean, and I really think that could also set it off. I'd like to get something with like a gold accent. I found some blitzes that I like.
Okay.
They also make HKS shocks for this.
Oh, yeah.
Coilovers that are also powder coated gold already. So I mean, there's some stuff that I could do to it, but like so far, I mean, I pretty much touched every nut and bolt on this thing.
Nice.
So I really got suspension and wheels left, and I think that's about it.
Does anyone ever ask you what the Japanese letters are there on the side of it?
Yeah, they have.
What is it?
So I actually, also a cool story, I rendered this entire car off of Need for Speed Heat.
Oh, nice.
Before I did any of the paint work, body work, I actually beat the game so that I had everything unlocked.
Yeah.
And I built this car on the video game.
Oh,
so
cool.
I got that symbol off the video game, and it's Japanese for rough.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
it's
All right.
nothing cool. It was
Yeah.
just a cool logo.
Yeah.
But of
Yeah.
course, I get all the comments like, "Hey, you think that's actually what it
Yeah,
says?"
yeah,
And like
exactly.
they come at me with all this shit, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know, but if you're not Japanese, I really don't care.
Yeah, I
anyway,
really don't care.
You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
it could say something bizarre, but according to the game and 3 different websites on Google, it means rough.
Perfect.
So
You know what's funny? So you say that. I just had a conversation with Jason Gorman. So I told you I have that Eclipse GSX.
Yeah.
So, you know, for the longest time, I wanted to do a Fast and Furious build and replicate the green car and everything like that.
naturally.
A lot of people do it, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, what can I do that's different? So we were actually just talking, and I was playing Gran Turismo 1. And I don't know if you ever played Gran Turismo 1.
Oh yeah,
but,
absolutely.
So
Classic.
when you tricked the Eclipse all the way out, it came with all these cool graphics and everything on the side.
Yeah.
So I showed him a picture. I'm like, you think we can replicate this? And
Yeah.
he's like, absolutely.
Absolutely,
I'm like,
dude.
yeah. I was like, okay, cool. No one else is doing that. I was
Right.
like, it's very
Exactly.
early 2000s. You know what I mean? And like, it's gonna look great.
Well,
so
and
that's good
everybody-
that someone else is doing a video
Yeah,
game.
absolutely. Well, that's the thing too, is that like people pay hundreds of dollars for these renderings, and like they're almost like unmatchable. It's like
Yeah.
you're coming up with something bizarre, but
Yeah.
like they don't even realize like if you would play some of our childhood games.
Oh yeah, it's all right
What
there.
do you think that is?
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
all right
somebody
there.
had to come up with that somewhere. It's real shit.
100%.
So like, and even some of the body kits are like but that's where I built that bumper off of, was the video game.
Okay.
I made a mold off the
Yeah.
video game,
Oh, nice.
replicated it out of fiberglass because it was off an R34.
And what'd
that's
you
how I-
use? You just use foam or styrofoam?
No, so it was all fiberglass. I ordered a bumper.
Okay.
It was atrocious. It was falling apart. Wasn't even for the right car, but that was the closest thing I had to a mold. So I cut it into 6 pieces. I zip tied it all together to get
Okay.
the shape I wanted, and then
Yep.
I put little band-aids on it. What we did,
Yeah.
we laid 3 layers of fiberglass on the inside of that,
Oh, okay,
and then
nice.
we took a grinder and ground the mold away, and there I had
There
one
you have
solid
it.
bumper.
And it's the only one.
It's the
you're
only
ever
one that
gonna see.
exists.
So when people come at you, they're going to be like,
Yeah.
man, where can I get that bumper?
People
Like,
have asked me
sorry.
multiple times that have Skylines. They're like, "Hey, I really like your body kit. What brand is that?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "It's not a brand."
My own. You got to come up with a name
Yeah,
just
I was
like,
like,
the name
yeah,
of the color. you know what I
douchebag
mean?
silver
Yeah.
with douchebag bumper, baby. That's what it is.
I love it, man. I love it.
People are gonna call you a douchebag anyway, so you might as well make it a lifestyle instead of a choice. You know
Dude,
what I'm
I
saying?
like that, dude. That's really good.
Hell yeah.
That's really good. So what other cars you into? You got? Is this your only one, or you got another one?
I mean,
Wanna plan on building,
you
or-
know, right out of high school. I mean, I was a typical, again, douchebag. I was like, oh yeah, WRX life.
Ah,
You know, so I
sure.
built a WRX. I did some cool shit with it. I had a 350Z touring edition, white leather interior.
Ooh.
Found it with 24,000 miles on it. I ended up selling it. Yeah, so like I was pretty much into everything, nothing specific, but I wanted to try out a bunch of different things to see what I liked. But I mean, nothing has hit me as much as this Skyline.
one right here,
Yeah,
yeah.
even the Z. I love the Z, and I was sad to get rid of it, but it was like time for something new.
Yeah.
And if I would have never sold the Z, I would have never found this.
Never
Skyline.
got this, yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like you gotta keep upgrading.
So you
gotta
you're a
keep
Nissan
going.
guy and a Chevy guy, so I like
Oh,
you. This is
naturally,
awesome. This is
yeah.
what I like. I like
Oh,
Nissans
yeah.
and Chevys. So
Well, so you like reliable shit then.
yeah, 100%. dude.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I want something with more than 4 cylinders. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, Nissan still puts out a lot of the 6s. Still, you know, they've always put out a 6 option. You know, Honda. While we have one next to us here that does have a 6 in it.
Oh yeah.
They
but
didn't
dude,
put out a
that's
whole lot of 6 options.
One of a kind.
Yeah, they
That's
didn't put out a
one of
whole
kind.
lot of 6 options. You know, and then Chevy. I mean, come on, man. You gotta love a Chevy.
I don't
We're
really
talking
think they
about
made anything bad. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
Cavalier, the Cobalt, the Cruise. I mean, those things are still going strong.
that. Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm
well,
saying.
Cody's here, and he raced a Cobalt. He races a Cobalt SS rear-wheel
Yeah,
drive.
right,
and
right.
it's sick. It's stupid. So.
That's what I mean, dude. I'm telling you, you just can't beat. I feel like reliability versus power, you can't beat it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, on the internet, on Facebook,
Yeah, so I
wherever,
got
TikTok. Wherever.
Yeah, I got Facebook. I'm not like huge into social media, which
Okay,
I should
cool.
definitely be more into it. Instagram.
you don't have to be.
Well, but
You
see,
know.
I'm building a business, and like,
Okay.
the advertisement's working too well because ever since COVID, I haven't been able to find a garage yet. So people are hitting me up
Nice.
all the time, like, "Hey, can you paint this?" And it's like, "Yes, I can. I have nowhere to do it yet."
Yeah.
So advertisement's working too well, but I'm not huge into social media. I like more of like the personal interactions.
Yeah, for
But Instagram is an _Nick_Buster.
Nice.
Pretty straight out of the
On
movie.
the side of the car.
Yeah, on the side of the car. Yeah. It was bad placement though. At the time, I was like, "Oh, people are gonna love this," but then when I put the mirrors on, I'm like, "All right, cool."
You're like,
can't
yeah.
even see it.
You're
Yeah,
like, gotta really
yeah,
sit
but like
down
I
and get
said,
that-
in it,
Well, your drive height though. I mean, you
right.
can probably
Yeah,
see it,
I'm just,
you know
I'm
what I mean?
not like. I need to be into more social media stuff, but like I'm more about these conversations like we're having right now.
Yeah,
This
but hey,
this shit's fun.
But hey, look, like painters, upholstery guys, dude, they're not on every corner, and the really
Right,
good ones aren't.
right.
And the guys who are really good, they have work lined up for years and years.
It's quality over quantity,
Yes,
man.
100%,
Always. That's the only way that you're gonna get that type of business, especially on cars like this.
Yeah.
Like if you need me to fix your Cobalt, we can put it in, put it out. You
Yeah.
can just keep driving it through the winter. But
Yeah.
if you're looking for somebody to do like some kind of restoration, you gotta. And this is my advertisement. This
Yeah.
is like me being like, hey, this is what I can do.
Well, dude,
Not what could happen. It's what can happen.
You got a great advertisement.
Yeah, I
buddy,
appreciate
man.
it. Though. I appreciate it for real.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes it works too well, but I mean that's the game.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Anybody you want to shout out to or thank or anything like that?
I mean, definitely for all my powder coating guys, RNC Coatings are killing it out by my house, like Leechburg area. So RNC Coatings for all the gold. Definitely my sister for JD CNC she actually made all the decals.
Oh, nice.
She cuts everything. She laser engraves. And I mean, ultimate thanks to. I'll give a shout out to my dad as well, because obviously the motor would never run.
Yeah.
Obviously without him. I'm not a big motor guy, but I sure learned a lot. He's a wizard, so definitely shout out to my dad.
Wonderful.
And I mean, honestly, just God too for the opportunity to have the car, meet
Yeah.
all these people.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Shout out to
it's-
Angelo with Steel City Cars. Now he brought us all together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what
I
I mean?
just
So-
met all these guys, and everybody's like super chill. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think we could go pretty far with this group, no doubt. But
Yeah, it's fun,
Just the
yeah.
opportunity, and I mean, all of the free conversations and all these stories that I'm hearing. I mean, it's all worth it, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure,
so,
man, for sure.
yeah, shout out to everybody, honestly. Just World of Wheels in
Yeah,
general.
thanks for coming down in the middle of winter with like
yeah, dude.
snow and
It's honestly
everything,
the
you know
worst
what
part.
I mean? So, but we got to pop the trunk now. But
Yeah.
all right, man. Well, cool.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
why not?
Thank you very much to Nick and everybody who listened to the podcast. I had a great time with this one. Nick's a great guy, as you can hear. He's awesome. He's young. He's a go-getter. He's someone that we need in this car world right now to keep this enthusiast hobby going. So, but big thanks to him for taking his time and talking to me right there. Again, get online, radridespodcast.com. Go check out all of the pictures. Get on there. If you like the episode, go give me a like on whatever it is, Spotify or Apple or whatever, and comment on it. Please give me some feedback on that as well. That's how we push this thing higher. So, but I really appreciate it. I have a great episode right after this one as well, and we'll see you next time.